Hi, I'm Michael Morgan, and welcome to Currents, San Francisco Chinatown. Everywhere you look, there's a colorful mixture of old and new. The Chinese community has been integral to the city of San Francisco from its very beginning. They've always been integral, but not always integrated. In the 1850s, Chinese immigrants flocked to California to escape economic turmoil in China and in search of a better life. They made up the majority of the workforce and risked their lives building America's first transcontinental railroad, playing a huge role in connecting America's East Coast and West Coast. Yet their heroic contributions were overlooked, and the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 saw this vibrant community marginalized and discriminated against for over 60 years. Despite this century of hardship, this resilient culture has thrived. We get a sense of the spirit of this community in the folk music and stories that we celebrate today. This is a culture of resounding resilience. These are stories and sounds, ancient and new, of not just the Chinese or Asian immigrant experience, but the American experience. It teaches us that every culture has a sound.
I was born in China, Wenzhou, a little town south of Shanghai. When I play pipa, we'll always say it's traditional Chinese pipa. It came from Persia 2,000 years ago through the Silk Road. They sit on a camel. Imagine maybe at night in the desert, in the cave, they play this funny instrument. The pipa is my mother's instrument. In a summer, I was 9 years old. She said, "Shen Shen, can you do this?" Which is the very basic pipa technique. And somehow I did it. Then my mother said, "Okay, from now on, you're gonna play the pipa." So it's so many years after, and I'm still playing and learning.
I was asked by my former teacher to play this small little piece written by Bright Sheng called Seven Tunes Heard in China. It's based on folk melodies, and a lot of the folk melodies are were part of Bright Sheng's life. Knowing Bright for these 18 years has been really fantastic. I've had a chance to work under him as a conductor and play chamber music with him as a pianist in his own piano trio. Movements that we're doing today are Seasons and The Little Cabbage. Seasons is, of course, about the optimism of spring, the beauty that all entails. Little Cabbage, I thought, was a cute little song, a little bit depressing. It was explained to me later that it's actually a song that children sing at their mothers' graves. So I thought, yeah, that's a real downer.
These two tones I have been listening when I was a child. And normally the Chinese song or the folk song always has some kind of story behind it, and has been passed generation by generation, so for like 1,000 years.
I feel it built up a bridge from a different culture to America, to people who are not familiar with Chinese music.
think all music is sort of based on some sort of folk music. Everyone is influenced by what they grew up in and what they have experienced themselves, and I think every composer and all music is kind of winding together those experiences. It's so important that we use music as a way for people to find common ground.
It's obvious that there's a lot of divisive issues in our world, in our country right now, and music is really one of those vehicles that will help us to explore other people's cultures, points of views, and I think it's very important, especially here in the Bay Area, where we're a huge melting pot. And I'm fortunate enough to play an instrument, and I can attest to the doors that music will open up if we allow them to be opened.
A modern symphony orchestra is one of the most versatile collections of artists the world has ever known. We are capable of playing so many different kinds of music from so many different genres. And within the orchestra, as you will see throughout this series, we have musicians who play in all styles and are extremely flexible. If symphony orchestras want to be embraced by their communities, they have to embrace their communities back. And that includes the various kinds of music that their communities listen to. We live in a very diverse America, getting more diverse all the time, and our repertoire has to get more diverse right along with it so that we remain a vital part of the musical life of our cities. A city's orchestra sits in the middle of all of these streams, all of these currents of music, and should actually be a place where all of them feel at home.